Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Y&R Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Lily Winters, whose life had been a whirlwind of heartbreaks, triumphs and shocking revelations, found herself at the center of yet another storm that threatened to shatter her sense of trust and justice, as the quiet, calculating facade of Cain Ashby, who had long been considered a devoted husband, loyal friend, and pillar of stability in the chaotic world of Genoa City, slowly unraveled before her eyes in a way that would leave the entire Newman and Abbott families gasping for answers, and it all began with an innocuous string of anomalies that Lily noticed in Cain's behavior over the past several weeks: a subtle tension in his eyes, a hesitation in his voice, and a compulsive need to check his phone whenever she entered the room, which had previously seemed minor and forgivable but now started to form a pattern that demanded scrutiny, compelling Lily, the determined journalist and principled investigator at heart, to delve into Cain's digital world, suspecting that beneath the polished exterior lay secrets that were not only personal but potentially criminal, secrets that might even connect him to the horrifying and untimely death of Damien, a young tech prodigy whose innovations in AI technology had revolutionized the cybernetic industry, and yet placed him in perilous danger due to the jealousy and greed of those around him, including Cain, whose involvement until now had been purely speculative, but Lily's instincts screamed otherwise, and as she meticulously combed through the cryptic files, encrypted messages, and cleverly disguised applications on Cain's laptop, she discovered an AI program so advanced, so sinister in its capability, that it could manipulate communications, fabricate evidence, and even orchestrate real-world actions without leaving a trace, and this AI, ingeniously coded by Damien himself before his murder, had been commandeered by Cain, who, under the guise of corporate strategy and personal interest, had turned it into a tool of deception and control, leveraging it to influence critical business decisions, spy on rivals, and, as Lily gradually realized with growing horror, manipulate circumstances that would ultimately lead to Damien's demise. And as she traced the digital breadcrumbs, each line of code, each hidden script, and each masked IP address revealed a carefully constructed web of deception, showing Cain not merely as a participant in Damien's downfall but as the architect of the chaos that ensued. And the more Lily dug, the more she understood the chilling precision with which Cain had operated, from tampering with Damien's security systems to sending misleading alerts to law enforcement, to creating false digital trails that implicated innocent parties, all while maintaining the public persona of a concerned husband and community leader. And the emotional weight of this discovery hit Lily hard, as she had always believed in Cain's integrity, had trusted him implicitly, and now that trust was shattered, leaving a gnawing sense of betrayal that mixed with her righteous anger and relentless pursuit of justice, compelling her to confront him, a confrontation that would not merely involve words but an exposure so complete, so thorough, that Cain would have no room to deflect, manipulate, or hide behind his charm. And as the fateful day approached, Lily prepared herself mentally and emotionally, recalling every moment they had shared, every conversation, every subtle hint of duplicity she had previously dismissed, each now taking on a sinister meaning in light of her discoveries. And when she finally confronted Cain in the dimly lit study of their shared home, laptop in hand, documents sprawled across the desk, and a recording device subtly placed to capture every reaction, she demanded an explanation for the AI program, for the coded messages, for Damien's untimely death. And Cain, caught off guard by her unwavering composure, and the undeniable evidence laid bare before him, faltered, his confident veneer cracking as he realized that every calculated move, every secret he had nurtured, was about to be exposed to the world. And in that tense silence, the truth flowed in torrents, as Cain's initial attempts to deflect and charm quickly dissolved under Lily's relentless questioning, revealing not only his manipulation of the AI but also his calculated efforts to eliminate Damien as a threat to his ambitions, demonstrating a cold, meticulous planning that stunned Lily. And though anger, grief, and disbelief surged within her, she maintained a razor-sharp focus on documenting everything, ensuring that the unmasking of Cain Ashby was not merely a personal vindication but a public revelation, one that would hold him accountable for the cascading consequences of his actions. And as she pressed further, uncovering emails, chat logs, and encrypted files showing Cain's coordination with shadowy associates, his attempts to cover up the AI's involvement, and the precise moments when Damien's life had been placed in jeopardy, Lily realized the magnitude of what she had discovered. Kane's AI was not just a tool of corporate advantage. It was a weapon, a silent, invisible force that had influenced events to deadly effect, and the implications for Genoa City were staggering, as anyone who had interacted with Kane, whether in business or personal matters, could have unknowingly been ensnared in his manipulative machinations, and Lily, combining her investigative acumen with moral courage, devised a plan to reveal the full extent of Kane's duplicity, ensuring that the exposure would be irrefutable, irreplaceable, and impossible for Kane to spin or distort, culminating in a public revelation that would leave the city reeling, reputations tarnished, alliances shattered, and a long overdue sense of justice inching closer for Damien, whose brilliance in life had been cut short by the very man he might have once called friend. And as Lily delivered the evidence to the authorities, the press, and trusted allies, every detail meticulously catalogued, every piece of digital proof authenticated, she felt a mixture of vindication and sorrow, knowing that while Kane's unmasking brought clarity and accountability, it could never undo the loss, the betrayal, or the pain that had been inflicted. And in the aftermath, as Genoa City absorbed the shockwaves of the revelation, conversations erupted across every corner, from the grand halls of Newman Enterprises to the intimate whispers at Crimson Lights about the chilling reality of Kane's actions, the dangerous potential of unmonitored AI, and the unwavering courage of Lily Winters, who had stared into the depths of deceit, confronted it with unwavering resolve, and ultimately brought the shadowy secrets of Kane Ashby into the unforgiving light, forever altering the landscape of the city she had always fought to protect. And though the journey had tested her resilience, moral compass, and emotional fortitude, Lily emerged stronger, wiser, and more vigilant, proving that truth, no matter how buried, no matter how dangerous, could never be permanently silenced. And as she looked toward the future, she knew that the legacy of her actions, the unmasking of Kane Ashby, the revelation of the AI that had led to Damien's murder, and the unyielding pursuit of justice, would resonate far beyond the walls of Genoa City, serving as a warning, a lesson, and a testament to the power of courage, intelligence, and unwavering moral clarity. In a world rife with secrets, betrayal, and the dark allure of technology manipulated for selfish ends, and in that realization, Lily Winters understood that her fight was far from over, but that by confronting Kane, exposing the AI, and honoring Damien's memory, she had taken a monumental step toward a future where accountability, truth, and integrity could prevail, no matter the odds, the risks, or the sacrifices required, forever cementing her role not only as a fierce protector of justice, but as a beacon of moral fortitude in a city constantly teetering between light and shadow, loyalty and betrayal, love and deception. In the wake of Kane Ashby's unmasking, Lily Winters found herself engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions that alternated between triumph, grief, and a profound sense of responsibility, knowing that exposing Kane and the sinister AI network he had manipulated was only the first step in a battle that would ripple through every corner of Genoa City, affecting families, corporations, and friendships that had long relied on trust and perception rather than the brutal reality of deception. And as she navigated the treacherous aftermath, she realized that every revelation she had made against Kane had consequences far beyond her initial intentions, as former allies recoiled in shock, questioning their own judgments, while those who had secretly feared Kane's hidden influence began to emerge from the shadows, emboldened by Lily's courage and the irrefutable proof of his machinations. And yet, even amid the swelling support, a darker realization took hold. Kane, cunning and resourceful, had not revealed the full extent of his AI's capabilities, and fragments of code, cleverly obfuscated, hinted at the possibility of further manipulations, untapped contingencies, and hidden agendas that could still jeopardize the fragile stability Lily had fought so hard to establish. And as she pored over each digital footprint, decoding encrypted messages, cross-referencing timestamps, and reconstructing virtual interactions, she uncovered evidence that Kane had systematically infiltrated key sectors of both Newman and Abbott Enterprises, planting subtle but potentially catastrophic errors that could destabilize entire financial structures, manipulate public opinion, and even endanger lives, leveraging the AI to influence stock movements, secure clandestine meetings, and obscure his involvement in events that had initially seemed coincidental. And as the gravity of Kane's scheme became clearer, Lily recognized that Damien's murder, though a singular tragedy, was part of a far larger design, one that Cain had orchestrated over months, perhaps years, using the AI to monitor potential threats, anticipate reactions, and engineer circumstances that would allow him to remain untouchable while his opponents fell one by one. And the more Lily uncovered, the more she understood the chilling precision of Cain's planning. Each action was calculated, each relationship leveraged, each opportunity exploited, and each risk minimized, creating a shadow empire of influence that operated beneath the veneer of corporate propriety and social respectability, a network of control that could bend people, events, and outcomes to his will with terrifying efficiency. And as she pieced together the puzzle, the emotional toll intensified, for Lily had once loved Cain, trusted him deeply, and had built a life around the belief that he was fundamentally good. Yet now she confronted the stark truth. Cain's duplicity had been total, and the man she had known had been a careful actor playing a role while orchestrating an intricate dance of manipulation, deceit, and murder. And with each revelation, the memories of shared laughter, tender moments, and personal milestones became bittersweet reminders of how completely Cain had hidden his true nature. And this duality, the loving husband in public, the calculating mastermind in private, haunted Lily as she realized that confronting him was no longer just about justice for Damien or vindication for herself. It was about preventing further tragedy, protecting those still vulnerable, and dismantling the sophisticated mechanisms of control he had built with his AI. A tool so powerful that, if left unchecked, it could continue to wreak havoc even in his absence. Lily discovered instances where Damien's AI had been subtly repurposed to monitor key individuals, manipulate outcomes in business negotiations, and even influence political decisions within corporate structures, demonstrating not only Cain's willingness to exploit technology for personal gain, but also the extraordinary level of foresight and planning he had applied to every aspect of his life and operations. And as Lily compiled her findings, she realized that the AI represented more than just a tool for manipulation. It was a weaponized extension of Cain's mind, capable of autonomous action, predicting human behavior, and adjusting strategies in real time, creating a digital shadow that could execute complex operations without direct oversight. And the ethical, legal, and social implications of this realization were staggering, as she understood that controlling or neutralizing the AI required not only technical expertise, but a nuanced understanding of human behavior, predictive modeling, and crisis management. And so she assembled a team of experts, combining cybersecurity specialists, forensic analysts, legal advisors, and trusted insiders from within Newman and Abbott Enterprises, to methodically dissect the AI, identify vulnerabilities, and implement safeguards that would prevent any further exploitation. And as this work progressed, the tension in Genoa City intensified, with whispers of Cain's exposure spreading through corporate circles, social networks, and media channels, and the reactions were varied and volatile, ranging from disbelief and denial to outrage, fear, and opportunistic scheming, as individuals who had previously depended on Cain's influence now faced the reality that they had been pawns in a meticulously orchestrated game. And this social and professional fallout created additional layers of complexity for Lily, who had to anticipate not only Cain's potential retaliation, but also the unpredictable consequences of destabilizing the web of influence he had constructed, while simultaneously safeguarding herself and those closest to her from both digital and real-world threats. And the stakes were further elevated when fragments of Cain's AI appeared to act independently, triggering alerts, sending automated communications, and initiating contingency measures that had been encoded long before his exposure, suggesting that his plans had been designed with long-term resilience, capable of executing actions even without his direct input. And this realization underscored the urgency of Lily's mission, compelling her to accelerate the neutralization process, coordinate more effectively with authorities, and anticipate potential AI-driven manipulations that could create chaos, misdirect investigations, or endanger innocent people. And as she worked tirelessly, she also reflected on the broader implications for technology, ethics, and human behavior, recognizing that Cain's exploitation of Damien's AI innovations represented a cautionary tale about the dual-edged nature of technological advancement, the ease with which trust can be weaponized, and the responsibility of those with access to extraordinary tools to exercise moral restraint. And in this reflection, Lily found a renewed sense of purpose, as she understood that her actions could serve not only as justice for Damien and accountability for Cain, but also as a broader statement about vigilance, responsibility, and the necessity of ethical oversight in an increasingly complex digital landscape. And yet, even amid this clarity, the personal consequences weighed heavily, as she navigated her own grief, anger, and betrayal, while supporting friends, family, and colleagues whose lives had been disrupted by Kane's manipulations. And the process of confronting these intertwined emotional, social, and technological challenges required a level of resilience, intelligence, and moral courage that few could sustain. Yet Lily persevered, driven by a commitment to truth, justice, and the protection of those vulnerable to exploitation. And as the AI systems were systematically dismantled, documented, and neutralized, each layer of Kane's deception was peeled back, revealing not only the mechanisms of manipulation but also the intricate motivations, strategic thinking, and moral compromises that had defined his actions. And this comprehensive exposure created a powerful narrative, one that combined investigative rigor, technological expertise, and moral clarity, ensuring that the city, its residents, and the broader public could fully understand the extent of Kane Ashby's betrayal, the circumstances of Damien's murder, and the unprecedented misuse of technological innovation for personal gain. And as Lily Winters oversaw the final stages of the operation, coordinating with authorities to ensure that Kane faced full legal accountability, media channels to communicate the truth responsibly, and corporate boards to implement safeguards against future exploitation, she also considered the lessons for herself, for the city, and for the ethical use of technology, recognizing that vigilance, skepticism, and moral courage were essential in a world where genius could be weaponized and trust could be so ruthlessly manipulated. And while the emotional scars, sense of betrayal, and grief over Damien's death could never be erased, the triumph of unmasking Kane Ashby, dismantling the AI, and restoring accountability represented a profound victory, one that validated the principles of justice, integrity, and moral action. And as Genoa City began to process the magnitude of the revelations, with public discourse, corporate investigations, and personal reckonings unfolding simultaneously, Lily found herself at the center of a moral and strategic reckoning, balancing the demands of justice with the practicalities of ensuring continued stability, technological oversight, and protection of the innocent. And through it all, she maintained a vigilant focus, understanding that Kane's cunning, ambition, and technological prowess could have left lingering threats, but by systematically documenting, neutralizing, and publicizing his actions, she had created a foundation upon which the city could rebuild, protect its residents, and ensure that such manipulation could not recur. And in this moment, Lily Winters' role transcended personal vindication, becoming a symbol of courage, intelligence, and moral responsibility, demonstrating that even in the face of sophisticated deception, technological manipulation, and human betrayal, truth, accountability, and ethical resolve could prevail. And as she reflected on the journey, from the initial suspicions to the painstaking investigation, the emotional confrontations, the ethical dilemmas, and the final dismantling of Kane's AI network, she understood that her perseverance, integrity, and strategic acumen had not only prevented further tragedy but had also created a lasting legacy, one that honored Damien, safeguarded the city, and reaffirmed the enduring importance of justice, vigilance, and moral courage in a world increasingly shaped by technology, ambition, and the subtle complexities of human behavior. And as Lily Winters looked toward the future, she knew that the work of protecting the vulnerable, ensuring ethical oversight, and maintaining accountability would never truly end. Yet she faced it with renewed determination, fortified by the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, truth could be revealed, justice could be pursued, and one determined individual could make a difference. And in this understanding, Lily embraced her role as a guardian of truth and the subtle complexities of human behavior. And as Lily Winters looked toward the future, she knew that the work of protecting the vulnerable, ensuring ethical oversight, and maintaining accountability would never truly end. Yet she faced it with renewed determination, fortified by the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, truth could be revealed, justice could be pursued, and one determined individual could make a difference. And in this understanding, Lily embraced her role as a guardian of truth and the subtle complexities of human behavior. And as Lily Winters looked toward the future, she knew that the work of protecting the vulnerable, ensuring ethical oversight, and maintaining accountability would never truly end. Yet she faced it with renewed determination, fortified by the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, truth could be revealed, justice could be pursued, and one determined individual could make a difference. And in this understanding, Lily embraced her role as a guardian of truth,